And welcome into the Monday edition, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game, presented by Green Ventures Landscaping for homes and businesses that want to stand out, not blend in. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. Live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Christian Skelton here with you this week. Ian Safar on a well-deserved vacation, so we wish Ian a great time this week away from the program. Joseph, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Yeah, hope Ian has fun in the Big Apple, and doing all right. Watched the whole game yesterday, the whole match. A lot of people complaining about it. I mean, there weren't a lot of goals, but I mean, Spain is just great, man.
Yeah, Spain, the deserving victor of this tournament, clearly. I thought they played great yesterday. I saw a couple of my buddies talking about this. Glad that it didn't go to PKs with the way that Spain played. Felt like they deserved to win. I was personally rooting for it to go to PKs because I think that would have been awesome. But Spain gets it done in extra time.
Yeah, that it would have been fun. And obviously then Messi would have taken a shot because he didn't yesterday. But it would have kind of been an injustice because it was just domination. I've been saying Argentinian, but I noticed on the broadcast that Stu Holden kept saying Argentine. So I don't know which is more right, but the Argentine or Argentinian goalie,
both correct.
Both correct.
According to AI.
Which is listed first?
It just says both Argentine and Argentinian are correct and interchangeable.
Okay.
Adjectives used to describe people from Argentina.
I just feel like Argentine sounds kind of cool. The Argentine goalkeeper was freaking unbelievable, man. Yeah, man. I mean, unbelievable. That guy, that was like, I always want to draw these, soccer to a different sport. That was, a goalie in hockey just completely taking over a game, just stealing a game. They didn't win, but no, I felt like Argentina. Now it's messing me up saying the country name. I feel like they never had any threat at all. Like, I mean, finally at the end when they're desperate, then you get the red late and then you're just basically screwed. But if anybody had any questions, I don't think anybody did. But if you did have any questions about whether we were going to beat Spain, no, we were not.
I was going to ask you, does it make you feel better, like as a U.S. soccer fan, that knowing that if you would have won against Belgium, you had to play Spain, and it just probably wasn't going to end well? They ended up winning the whole tournament. So does that make you feel any better?
Not really. You want to get to that point. You want to test yourself.
I'm trying.
Yeah. Like, because the thing is, I think at our best, us. We could have, not scored because no one scores on them, but like maybe only lost like 1-0, 1-0. I don't know. But
exciting.
Yeah, I know. But no, we're the champions, and it's probably good. Plus, now you can just stop with every single thing has to be a conspiracy. Like, oh yes, we know FIFA's corrupt, but why does FIFA want
Argentina?
Dude, what this Argentine thing has messed me up like crazy. I keep wanting to say Argentina now. Why do they want them to win? Why would FIFA not want England in the final? I mean, are you kidding me? Come on. So, like, it's good because that's apparently been the thing, and so they didn't win it. So, great. Good for Spain. 2010 and 2026, the 2 years that LeBron made us all wait on a decision. Yeah. That's right.
Could be joining the Heat both times. LeBron is apparently the Miami Heat have been emerged as pretty substantial betting favorites now to land LeBron James.
Wow.
So it's gone from Cleveland has basically been the favorite the whole time to now LeBron James is favored to go to the Miami Heat. A lot of different markets. Like I'm looking at this Kealty thing that I'm unfamiliar with.
Yeah, that freaks me out.
The Hard Rock stuff.
Kealty, you can bet on your own haircut. I'm not down with that.
That's not what I'm looking for there. But yeah, the Miami Heat have stepped up to the forefront of the favorite for LeBron James, which apparently a decision is coming like pretty soon this week, from what they say. We'll see.
It has to be this week. What is there any reasoning?
Well,
with the Heat,
I don't know. I saw like Gilbert Arenas put it out there that he had talked with Giannis, and Giannis said basically, yeah, he's coming here. So I don't know. So that's Gilbert Arenas. I couldn't tell you how reliable Gilbert Arenas is, but the betting odds are reacting to something. So I think, yeah, like Yahoo ran something on this. Kealty's got it. Heat at 52%, Cavs at 26%, Warriors at 13%, and Philadelphia I think is at 13% too. So they all these headlines just say Miami's odds have skyrocketed over the last couple of days.
So that's got to be it. Now it does. Now it's a much obviously much more solid than this, but it does remind me of the Will Levis thing. Was it just that they're taking number one, but there was some connection, right? There was some, wasn't there some, there was some reasoning given for why he was going number one. But anyway, Vegas totally reacted to that with Levis before the draft. It ended up being total BS, which I hope this is too. But for your sake, boy, would you have a fun.
Oh, I would love it.
And that would be interesting. LeBron and Giannis. LeBronus.
I mean, from a fit standpoint, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what else they've got around them, but it fits well from those three. Like LeBron would have to dominate the ball. Like Giannis not going to dominate the ball. You can get it to him, but LeBron would dominate the ball. You get Giannis in there, and bam. He'll play a bunch of really good defense for you and get you. I mean, he scored 84 points in the game this year, so you can get him the ball.
Sure,
but LeBron would be like basically the point guard on that team.
Yeah, that is interesting because I still feel like Giannis is at his best when he can sort of get up ahead of steam and right. So those two playing off each other, and obviously Giannis, every time he pulls up for a three, it's like, stop, no,
don't do that.
If you have enough shooting around those three, and you can play good team defense, I mean,
that would be the other, I think, appealing thing for LeBron, other than, it's a place he's been and is familiar with before, and it's a great coach. But, I mean, Giannis and Bam are what? Two of the top 5 best defensive players in the game? I mean, it's probably maybe even top 4, top 3. Like, there are people that think it's Giannis, Bam, and obviously Wembanyama are the best 3 defenders in the game. So if you're worried about not having to play all that much defense if you're LeBron, that'd be a good team to go to.
Yeah, no, and that is. I mean, somewhere you've got to conserve. Well, sorry, Warriors. I thought it might be interesting. I mean, I'm going to hold out until this actually happens, but I mean, why would he say that?
I don't know. I mean, again, I don't know how trustworthy Gilbert Arenas is on this stuff. So,
but if he wasn't trustworthy, wouldn't he already be put on blast for that?
I don't know.
Real quick on soccer, Joey from Belvoir points out that England versus France was a joy to watch. I must say, I feel bad. I missed it. We were busy doing stuff, and I wasn't able to watch it. But I was kind of following along. I'm like, oh, it's 4-0. And so I just stopped following along. And then I saw that it was a 6-4 final.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, some people didn't play, and I don't know.
Yeah, I did not watch the third place game.
People went nuts about the third place game.
Yeah, I did not watch the third place.
Mbappe Golden Boot.
Matthew from Jolton that says LeBron won't have Ray Allen to bail him out this time.
Wow,
it's true.
Ray Allen was important.
He was important. A great shot.
That was one heck of a shot.
I would also advise you to go back and watch the fourth quarter of that specific game and how they ever got back in the game. I think LeBron had 14 in a row or something like that.
Yeah.
He was pretty good.
Yeah. I think LeBron, you could say he had a decent hand in that one, in those titles. Right? Yeah, I'd say so.
I would say so. So that part is going to be interesting to see when that decision comes. There was reporting this weekend on the LeBron front. That Adam Silver from the NBA came out and was like, yeah, I wish LeBron hurry up and make a decision because we got schedule release stuff to come out with. And there was some reporting apparently from people tied into LeBron. I was like, yeah, he doesn't care about that. He's not concerned at all with the commissioner and the schedule. So,
and that's fine. You don't have to be concerned with the commissioner and the schedule, but maybe read the room overall. There
are
beyond
also
the commissioners
waiting on.
Yeah, absolutely
the decision here.
Even at his age, it's a bit of a domino effect decision, right? You gotta, and it's enough already, man. It's enough already. So how about before 10 Eastern today?
That'd be great.
What do you think?
That would be great. It's SEC Media Days this week, Joe. And I know it's a tough week for you when you're not there because it's just something that you feel like you're missing out on each year when you don't get the chance to go. That's why when you do get the chance to go, I think you relish it so much. But
I love it.
Not there this year in person for you down there in Tampa. So I know that's going to be tough for you to overcome.
Yeah, it will be. I'm imagining right now walking into that 38-degree room and seeing so many people with their laptops sitting there at the coffee. The coffee has already run out by now. The coffee's already out. I can picture this in my mind. The only thing that you can drink is Diet Dr. Pepper at this point. Feinbaum's over there in the corner holding
Sankey.
court, Yeah, then Sankey
Austin
comes in.
Price.
You hear the Darth Vader music as Sankey walks in, Yeah, I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss it a lot. Lots of exciting stuff today.
We got Tennessee doing SEC Media Day action today. Vanderbilt's in there tomorrow. I mean, what a day tomorrow is, by the way. Golish at Auburn. Kirby Smart at Georgia. My boy Shane Beamer at South Carolina. Clark Lee at Vanderbilt. It's a decent day tomorrow.
That is. Of course, they say just to try to get some people to stay, they're saving Lane for last day.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Who wants to hang around all week just so you can hear Lane
and Sark last.
Yeah. Sark is whatever. Don't blow it this year, Sark.
Sark, why didn't you agree to go play Texas Tech out there? I'm sure that'll come up at some point.
There you go. Of course, now
a lot of things have happened since then.
Now most of college football wants to deschedule Texas Tech, so
there's that. We will get into the Tennessee portion of this coming up next. 615-737-1025. We've talked a lot about Tennessee, the challenges for Josh Heupel heading into this year. What about the other side of it? How equipped are they to maybe surprise people? We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game, taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. It is SEC Media Days this week. SEC Media Days starts today, and 102.5 The Game will have updates throughout the week. SEC Media Days coverage brought to you by Shane Co., Tri-State Water, Power, and Air, and the Music City kickoff game featuring Ole Miss taking on Louisville September the 6th at Nissan Stadium. Get your tickets today at NashvilleSports.com. Josh Heupel will be speaking later today at SEC Media Days. I believe he will also have Deshaun Bishop, Arion Carter, Jeremiah Thielander coming with him today on the player front. So we've talked a lot this offseason, Joe, for Tennessee about obviously the quarterback battle, and we'll get back into that here in just a few minutes. But the quarterback part of this, but just the program as a whole. You had the Nico Iamaleava situation last year. Joey Aguilar steps in. He plays really well for the most part for Tennessee. And yet they end up really with a disappointing season at home. They had the Georgia game that was a classic that they probably should have won, and they let it get away from them. And then you lose at Oklahoma. You lose to Oklahoma at home. You get thumped by Vanderbilt at home. You lose on the road at Alabama. And you end up 8-4, technically 8-5 when you factor in the bowl game at the end of the year. So it has a lot of people wondering, where is this all headed with Josh Heupel in Tennessee? And I think a very common phrase or question that's been thrown out there is, has he maxed out at Tennessee? And we're going to begin to find out, I guess, some of the answer to that this year. But I think a lot of like worst case scenario situations have been presented around Tennessee this offseason of what happens if the quarterback play is not any good, or what happens if they can't get to the pass rusher, or what happens if so-and-so, so this and that. It's always this. Well, what about the other case? Like, what if they step in there and they get good quarterback play from either one of these guys, whether it's George McIntyre or Faison Brandon? What if Jim Knowles coming in as defensive coordinator is a great move by Heupel? And even though I'm looking at it right now on paper and I'm very concerned, particularly about edge rusher and what that's going to look like, what if they find some guys in there that get after the quarterback and they turn back into being a pretty good defense? Like, I still look at the offensive side of the ball, and I look at, there's Braylon Staley, there's Mike Matthews, Deshaun Bishop was a very productive running back last year. I feel good about their offensive line that they've got coming back. Like, there's a lot to like, I think, on the offensive side of the ball. What about the best case scenario for Tennessee? What if Josh Heupel looks at the team that he's got this year? He figures out quarterback, which he has a track record of doing. The defense steps up, plays maybe a little bit better than we think it's going to heading into the year. And you look at that gauntlet of a schedule that they've got, and they end up 9-3 or 10-2. What would that tell you about Josh Heupel and the job that he's done?
Hey, it's a great question, great point, because I feel like we have talked a lot more about the worst case, and there is a best case. There's promise here. Beyond, I agree with you. I think the offensive line could be the best under Josh Heupel, and that's been a problem spot. So that's not necessarily saying a ton, but they've also obviously had a ton of production with the offensive line. But like you said, really like the receivers. Bishop is the third straight guy who's been 1,000-yard back. He's going to have a big year. I mean, that looks good. There are a lot of guys on defense. I mean, like Tyree Weathersby, Jordan Norman. There's some guys who we don't know what they are. I really like David Hobbs inside up front. Obviously, Carter is a very good player. And there's some promising guys in the back end too. And I think you hit it with Knowles, that he could be a big difference maker. Obviously, it'd be a lot better if you had him and Chaz Coleman.
Yep.
That would be ideal. And you're going to have to overcome that. But there are some young guys and some new guys through the portal who could give you a solid defense. I really like how the schedule sets up, as long as you can get through that Georgia Tech game, because as long as you can do that, you're going to be 3-0. You're going to have Texas coming in. Texas having already played against Ohio State. That's a huge opportunity at home. And that's one of those things that could vault your season. It could also be a wake-up call and a slap in the face. Texas is loaded. So, but to have them at home, I just think that's a great opportunity. Then you have Auburn at home. and you're at Arkansas. And so to me, even if, not worst case. I mean, you could lose, but I think you should have one loss at worst when Alabama comes in. And Alabama, I mean, the third Saturday in October this year could be a referendum on two coaches. I don't know, but Alabama coming into your house, I think you should be confident about winning that game. I mean, we'll see. Like they've got their own quarterback question and two talented guys. Some people love the young guy, what he's going to be, but we'll see. We'll see what they are. That's an opportunity. South Carolina on the road, Kentucky. I mean, the schedule overall is tough, and the Texas game counts in that, and Alabama counts in that too. But I think it's until you get to having to go to A&M and then coming back for Lane, and who knows what the heck what that's going to look like at that point. There's actually, I think, a lot of opportunity, and I think it does allow at least for a build to that sort of, that discovery game against the junior UT.
Well, the gotta have it game on this, to me, you have to beat Georgia Tech. And we'll see what Georgia Tech is this year, but I mean, Georgia Tech it's not some game that you could just trot out there and think you're going to play your C game and win. Like you gotta win that game. And you laid out the Texas part of it. Texas is going to be, I think, the most talented team that they play against all year, but you've got it at home. You've got 3 of your 4, to me, just massive games this year. Texas, Alabama, Texas A&M, LSU. You got 3 of them at home. So while the opponents you look at and you say, "Ooh, that's going to be tough," 3 of the 4 at home. And I mentioned to start things off this segment, you dropped 3 at home last year, and that just hasn't happened under Josh Heupel really since his first year, right? Like Neyland has been a really tough place to play, and they've played really well at Neyland. They didn't last year. So does that change? Was that a one-off? Is there anything you can take into that? Or do you get back to being a pretty dominant team at home? I mean, I understand the people are mad that the Texas game is at 11 a.m., and I understand it. That's still going to be a pretty raucous place that they're walking into. So, I think you feel great that 3 of those 4 games are at home. Now, again, you've got South Carolina on the road, could be tricky, all seriousness, all joking aside, with the Shane Beamer front. I mean, they have a very talented quarterback that we have seen play well in the SEC before. When that place gets rolling, it can be a difficult place to play. For some reason, Arkansas has given them fits. Like even last year, Taylor Green, I thought was just going to destroy them in that game. They ended up winning it, but it was by the skin of their teeth. So they got Arkansas again on the schedule this year. And then Vanderbilt, right? Like Vanderbilt to close out the year at home or on the road. I don't know what this Vanderbilt team is going to be, but you would assume, by the way, that Jared Curtis from the beginning of the season to the end of the season probably improves a lot in that plan in that span of time. So the schedule is what it is. I just think if you look at Tennessee's roster right now, to me, these are 2 massive questions. But if you get adequate quarterback play and if you get adequate pass rush, they can end up being pretty good, right? I mean, those are 2 huge ifs. I understand that. But there is a track record on both fronts of Tennessee generating pressure on the quarterback under Josh Heupel and Tennessee having good quarterback play under Josh Heupel. And I feel like a little bit of that has been lost in the discussion this offseason.
Yeah, and I think that this is a year where you definitely hope to see, and I think you've already seen some, but I mean, you definitely hope to see continued and maybe growing, player development within your program, showing up on the field. I think you see there's some opportunity for that on defense. Some of these guys have played some, but they're in bigger roles. And look, I mean, Tim Banks was fine. He had some really good moments. He had a great defense 2 years ago, so you can't forget that. But also some really bad moments too. You hope. You look at Jim Knowles, you look at his whole track record, and it is like you just have to, understand with Ohio State how much better it makes. I mean, like people are seriously raving about Matt Patricia being a genius, and it's like, man, guys, I'm not saying he's a bad coach or anything, but like, let's understand like the advantage he has. He has like top of the draft people are talking about. This guy can be generational. This guy can be all over the field. Like, do we think that doesn't make a difference? And so I apply that to Knowles a little bit. Then he goes to Penn State and it didn't go well, but that could be an absolute upgrade. I mean, I think that's probably. If you tell me that it is for sure, then I feel like he's going to figure out some ways to manufacture enough pressure, and he's got some depth on that defense and some guys that we're going to find out about this year. But, yeah, they could be better than we assume.
So what do you think about the Vols as Josh Heupel and company step into SEC Media Days today? What do you make of the worst-case scenario, best-case scenario for the Vols in your mind this year? We'll take your thoughts on that. 615-737-1025, our phone number. More coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. It is a Reaction Monday brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. On the Vols, Matthew from Jolton says, Georgia Tech, South Carolina could be sneaky. They each usually have one upset a year. I think they got a lot of sneaky games on here. I mean, I'll tell you another one that I have no idea what to expect from this team this year, but I know this, and we've talked about this, Joe. If Tennessee loses this game, the fan base is going to freak out. And that is Auburn on October the 3rd. If Alex Golesh, former offensive coordinator, comes in there and beats you in Neyland Stadium, the fan base will not react well to that.
No, it won't. And I do think that, the best Tennessee offense was with Golesh as OC. It's Heupel's baby, but I think Heupel hiring Golesh was one of his really good moves as a coach. And that goes back to UCF. And I mean, they've got a dynamic. He brought his QB, from South Florida. So that's absolutely a dangerous game. Could be a track meet.
He brought a lot of people from South Florida.
Yeah.
But Byron Brown, pretty good. We'll see they've got several sneaky games. Like, I'm looking at their schedule. I mean, to me, Furman, Kennesaw State, I would throw Kentucky in there because they always handle Kentucky.
New era.
It is a new era.
New era.
And then I guess you could say Arkansas, because Arkansas is in a kind of a state of transition right now. Like, that's what I would define as your gimme games this year if you're Tennessee. And other than that, man, like, you've got A&M, LSU, like at South Carolina is not a gimme game. At Vanderbilt's not a gimme game. Like, they got a lot of either toss-ups or games that they're just straight up going to be underdogs in heading into this year.
Agree. So that's four. I would agree with those four. By the way, Arkansas fans, I mean, I don't know that I've ever seen a new coach for a program be so what appears to be just completely hated by the fan base. What has Ryan Silverfield done to you people?
I don't know.
They
wanted to run my guy Pittman out of there so fast, and now they're mad at the new guy.
Yeah. Well, I have no idea what he's going to do, but man, give him a chance. But I would agree with you. So then flip it around and tell me what games there no chancers. What no chancers are on this schedule?
I mean, I don't know that there is a no chancer. I mean, on the surface, like on the road at A&M is going to be tough.
That's
right?
probably
that's going to be tough. Going on the road to A&M late in the year. I mean, you never know. But I mean, like I said, LSU, Alabama, Texas are all at home. I mean, you're definitely not going to have as much talent as those teams. And, LSU added Sam Leavitt at quarterback. You got the Lane part of it coming in. Who knows how their season will have gone. I mean, that's the interesting part of that game is it's the second to last game of the year. So who knows what that looks like for both teams at that point. But, I mean, Alabama is going to be a more talented team than you are. Texas, for sure, is going to be a more talented team than you are. So, I mean, you're going to be, I would assume, underdogs in those games, but they're both at home.
Yeah. No, I would agree with Texas A&M. I'd put top of the list of toughest games. Marcel Reed is actually a guy I don't think enough people are talking about him. I know
he's really good.
He faded late, and he made some mistakes late, and it didn't go well. It didn't go well against Texas. Didn't go well in the playoff. But yeah, he could. If that guy takes a step, I assume he's got to at least be somewhere on a Heisman odds list, right? He should be. That's the toughest game. But think about in the past when we look at Tennessee's schedule, Georgia, so there's a loss. And really, well, okay, Georgia and Alabama both, so there's two losses. And then what can you do after that? It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
Last year was a big step with the way that they really competed against Georgia and like you said, should have won it. But those days are over, even for a team that might be looking at like a 7-win season. Like, there are a lot of losable games, but at least you have gotten rid of, to me, forget about
just
that.
Chalk it up.
Like, if you stay within, 10, 14 points of that team, that's a win. Those days are over, which is kind of nice.
By the way, do you know who the Heisman Trophy favorite is on the FanDuel Sportsbook right now? Just take a guess.
Well, if you're asking me like that, then it's not Arch, I guess.
It's not. He's second.
So Jeremiah Smith?
No. He's another quarterback.
CJ Carr?
That's correct.
Interesting. I think
I think some of that is going to be like if you go and look at Notre Dame's schedule, it's like, well, they're going undefeated, so or maybe 11-1, and it's like, well, so you got a quarterback on a team that's probably going to be 11-1 or 12-0, and you know what that means.
Yeah, and look, I think he's really good.
He is.
But also, this point was made by David Hale at ESPN. His CJ Carr last year against FPI top 40 opponents, 48.9 QBR, 63 completions, 63 yards per dropback, 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Now, also last year he had Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price taking a lot of heat off him, and they're gone. Yep. So I think he's going to be a really good player. Heisman favorite right now. I think you're right. That's a projection of who's beating them.
Yep. I mean, they've got the Miami game, and that's about it. I mean, it's college football. We've seen crazy stuff happen, but it's not that hard to envision Notre Dame going 11-1 or 12-0.
No,
looking at their schedule.
But also, and that might be, if his numbers have got to be really good still in tandem with that, because he can do that. And if Jeremiah Smith goes off like he might, I don't know that it matters. You don't automatically get it if you're like the QB of the best team. It helps.
He is tied for 5th, by the way, on the Heisman odds. Jeremiah Smith is.
Okay.
You've got Carr, Manning, Mensah down in Miami, and then Trinidad Chambliss are your top 4.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That he probably isn't getting talked about enough either.
I mean, I bring it up because you brought up Marcel Reed. Like, he's way down the list. Like, I don't even know what place he's in. He's that far down the list, but he's plus 3,000 odds. Marcel Reed.
See, like that to me is, I'm not one to sit here and say, here's some gambling advice, but I mean, that's a pretty good play.
Yeah.
Someone like that, because I mean, Texas A&M, I haven't looked at their schedule, but I mean, that's a team that I think could be really, really good this year. And he's a potentially special player. I think the end of the season last year soured to people, and I understand it. I mean, I think it was a little bit of a slap in the face, like, okay, you're not ready yet for this level, but I wouldn't be surprised if he is this year.
It is, a pretty difficult schedule for A&M. I mean, it's not unmanageable, but you got LSU on the road, you got Alabama on the road, Tennessee at home, Texas at home, at Oklahoma. They got some difficult games in there.
That's a you just never know with these conferences. It's like one team's schedule is just completely on paper going into a year. You got to keep that in mind, but just so much different than another team in the same league.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and then the quarterback part of this, right? If you're Tennessee, like, look at Heupel's track record since he got there. And I think the more distance you get away from the Hendon Hooker thing, I mean, Hendon Hooker is the best quarterback play that they've gotten under Heupel, right? And he was unbelievable what he did. And he was, until he got hurt, I mean, definitely going to be a Heisman finalist, maybe a Heisman favorite until he got hurt in South Carolina and all those things. So we understand that. Like Milton, he turned into an NFL quarterback, right? Like, I mean, Milton's arm was probably baseline going to get him a look in the NFL, but he played well enough under Heupel where he turned into an NFL quarterback. Yeah. Nico was Nico. They made the playoff, and now he's gone, and we'll see what he looks like this year. But Aguilar, I mean, nobody knew anything about Joey Aguilar this time last year, and he stepped in there and he played really well. So my point is, like, if you look at Heupel's track record at quarterback, I do think there's a little bit of, like, benefit of the doubt that I give him just based on what he's done at that position. And I understand that it's a little bit of a different challenge this year. You got 2 young guys. In one case, you've got a guy that's been in your program for a year who hasn't played a meaningful snap yet in George McIntyre. And the other case is you got a true freshman at Faison Brandon. So it's a different situation heading into this year. But I guess my point is this offense that I think is tailor-made to kind of helping the quarterback out, and Josh Heupel is a quarterback developer, I do give a benefit of the doubt too, that I think a little bit of, like, the quarterback questions for Tennessee is somewhat overblown. Are they going to get elite level quarterback play? That I don't know. And I think that's a lot to expect from a young guy. Is it going to be completely awful? Like, I've got a hard time buying that based on Heupel's track record.
Yeah, for sure. And the support is good. It should be, like right tackle's a little bit of a question, but I mean, the offensive line looks pretty good.
If you can run the ball, you can help your quarterback out a lot, and they're going to be able to run the ball. They always do.
Yeah. The only, and last year certainly was to me, a big deal with the way Joey Aguilar played. You have to go out there and just scramble and pick him up, and he performs the way he does in that offense after leading the FBS in picks the year before. So I think that says something. Now, most of the quarterbacks, now that's an old guy, and obviously Milton and Hooker were older and stuff like that. So you do have that, but Nico wasn't. Now, Nico was Mr. 5-star, yeah. But I mean, Faison Brandon, pretty significant recruit. I mean, both of these guys are big-time recruits, for whatever that's worth. I mean, I thought last week's conversation with Grace Rayner was interesting. It is funny how, like, the more these quarterbacks like show up to things, it's like, oh, look at all the flaws, they're so. But these are two talented guys. He knows what he's doing, and I expect it to be. And you hope that the competition elevates both of them too, right? I mean, you hope that's what it is, that the competition is raising both of their games. And I think he absolutely deserves benefit of the doubt. And it could be pretty good. Does it cost you, a game here or there just because of youth, not being able to put it together or making one key mistake? I mean, that's possible.
I also think there's another factor on the quarterback front that I think could be a huge help to them this year, whichever the quarterback is, whether it's McIntyre or Brandon, that we'll get into coming up next. We'll take your thoughts on the quarterback as well for Tennessee. 615-737-1025. SEC Media Day is getting rolling today down in Tampa. More coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at 1025 The Game for live shows and exclusive content. We'll have Cory Curtis from News 2 with us later in the program at 8 o'clock for his weekly visit. The RexRant with Joe Rexrode coming up at 7:45 on today's program. And he's got capital letters in there. That's why I know he's mad. So we're looking forward to that coming up at 7:45.
This is so annoying.
I'm looking forward to it. Coming up at 7:45 on the program here today. Taking your thoughts on the Vols, 615-737-1025. We've talked about Tennessee's offense. I think there are a lot of position groups, really other than quarterback, that I feel really good about heading into this year. And one guy in particular, like Staley, one of the criticisms I think of Heupel's offense heading into last season was, all right, well, they basically, even the year they made the playoff, almost totally abandoned going over the middle of the field, right? Like they just, whether Nico couldn't see it or couldn't read it, or they just couldn't, they weren't calling it enough, or Joey Halsey was to blame, whatever. They could not get much done over the middle of the field. And that totally changed last year. Now, Aguilar, I think, deserves a lot of credit for that. You got a very experienced quarterback coming in. And the fact is, I think they were just able to get to more in their playbook last year than they were with Nico as a young guy. So maybe you're going all the way back the other side of that this year with young quarterbacks coming in. But Heupel's also talked about this a little bit. Like, they changed up their playbook. Like, they've added things to this offense that were not previously there. And I think that served them well last year. And I think a guy that really benefited, like Staley, I think was awesome last year. And he ran basically every route they needed him to run. Like Staley and Matthews, I think should be huge weapons to whoever the quarterback is this year. And I don't know what either one of those guys is going to be in terms of like NFL prospect. Like I saw Brugler was taking a look at wide receivers a couple weeks ago at the Athletic. And I want to say, I think he had both of them somewhere in the top 15 or something like that, but not high. I mean, it's a heck of a wide receiver class that's getting ready to come out.
But a couple, okay, so that's like third round picks.
Yeah, like
a couple of those on your team.
They're pretty talented guys. Like Matthews in particular, 5-star guy coming in. Like we know what he is, and I thought he played well last year. So, like to me, this has got a chance. And I understand what I'm about to say is somewhat crazy because the guy won the Biletnikoff. This has got a chance to be the best receiving duo that they've had under Heupel, right? Like those guys are very productive last year.
Yeah, because Tillman got hurt that year. Like if he was all himself, maybe we don't say that.
Right. But I mean, Hyatt's Alabama game won him the Biletnikoff. He was very productive all year, but when you score 5 touchdowns, they have almost 300 yards against Alabama, you're doing well for yourself.
All-time performance.
It's an all-time performance. Like I think that duo, and we'll see kind of who the third guy ends up being, right? And because we know with Heupel's offense, it's basically 3. We'll see kind of what the third guy ends up looking like in this, but I think those two have a chance to be the most productive receiving duo that we've seen under Heupel to this point.
Yeah, and to your point, last year, and obviously Tennessee, a lot of people have talked about this even in the draft arena, right? Of the people kind of knocking the offense. And like you said, they went over the middle of the field. You did not see the super wide splits as much last year. You saw more pistol last year. And the middle of the field, trying to attack defenses that kind of do a lot of the same stuff against a lot of the same stuff that you saw before. Now, I know over the years they've added a lot of stuff that wasn't a part of the Bryles offense, and that even goes back to Golish's time with RPO stuff and some of their power running stuff. So, they've tried to diversify, but it does seem like last year they really got away from some of the bread and butter. So does that continue this year? Because you have younger quarterbacks, do you go back a little bit more to like your base offense? I don't know. But you at least saw more diversity last year. And, I think that was a good thing. Because, look, Joey Halsey, it's been up and down. I think he has had big shoes to fill. That's why we see Alex Golish go somewhere, win, and get himself the Auburn job pretty quickly. That's a very valuable guy you lost. Not everybody's going to step in and be the same thing. But I do think, I think Halsey last year it was a big year for him. to establish himself and show some creativity and some solutions. So obviously, if you're a Tennessee fan, you hope that continues.
Well, and Ethan Davis at tight end was dealing with some injuries last year.
Very talented.
He's very talented. He is not. I mean, I think last year he ended up with 21 catches for like 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. But every now and then you'll see him catch a pass and get the ball, and you're like, geez, I mean, that guy's got like NFL level talent. Yeah. Like, so is there a breakout? If there's a breakout season coming for somebody on the offensive side of the ball, my mind kind of drifts to him. It's like, could it be him? And, we haven't really seen them have a super dynamic tight end. Like Kitzelman was a good tight end, but Kitzelman is not like some dynamic guy out there. Like, could Davis be that for them this year? And if he could, what does that do for the young quarterback, for the offense, all those things?
Yeah, he's definitely the most NFL-looking tight end Heupel's had. And Matthews, too. Like, I still think that you might have a late first-round pick in there somewhere. Like, if everything were to break well for him, just with the physical tools he has. So what if he has, that kind of year? Texter says if Faison winds up being the starter, could get ugly. The point he gets hurt using his legs. Opposing coordinators will throw the kitchen sink at him. I'm hoping GMAC really steps up. Well, I mean, you want one of them to step. First of all, it's only a year difference. It's not like McIntyre's a fourth-year junior here.
Oh, McIntyre's not taking a single meaningful snap yet.
Yeah,
I know he's been in the program for years.
He's been in the program, and so that should matter. But another thing about this kitchen sink is, that's the thing about this offense is if it's going the way you want it to go, you limit what D coordinators can do. You spread them out so much. Again, we just talked about maybe you're not using the wide splits as much, but if you're going at that real tempo, and that's where it also gets tougher maybe with younger quarterbacks, because we've talked before about that. Man, they don't look nearly as fast as they look. And I thought last year at times they did again. Yeah, but with an old guy at QB.
With an old guy at QB. And again, like, I would also like to see them be a little bit more selective in that. Like, I think there are times where you can change up the tempo. We've talked about the defense part of this of like, at some point, if you're going 3 and out, you're just trying to go fast, you're going to kill your defense on the other side of things. I understand why they do it. Like, I understand the tempo being a thing. The slowest that they've ever gone resulted in a playoff trip for them. So I think that is also worth keeping in mind if you're high.
They had a great defense too. So
they did.
That's right. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's how do you what's your best way? And maybe it is when you play like a Texas, you look at all the they're loaded at receiver, man. And they're loaded, period. You might look at that game and be like, you know what? Like, they're going to score on us either way, so let's try to bury them with tempo. But, yeah, I'm with you. I think that you have to be able to play all the different tempos at different times.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll get back into the Vols a little bit later in the show. SEC Media Days getting underway today down in Tampa, Florida. Cam Ward with some interesting comments on the Brian Daboll hire that we'll get into coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Christian Skelton here with you on this Monday morning, presented by Green Ventures Landscaping, outdoor patios, landscaping design, lawn maintenance, and more. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. Live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. We'll have Cory Curtis from News 2 with us for his weekly visit coming up at 8 o'clock. The RexRant with Joe Rexrode later this hour at 7:45. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. There was a big to-do made of the Fanatics Fest in New York City last week, Joe. LeBron James appeared at this thing and started talking, so that was probably the main headliner. Cam Ward also ended up there at the Fanatics Fest in NYC, and had, I thought, some interesting things to say on Brian Daboll and the input that Daboll has allowed him to have in the Titans offense. Here's what Cam Ward had to say this weekend.
Us bringing in Daboll in this 5-6 months that I've been with him, he's taught me so much, right, that I wish I knew last year.
What has he taught you about, basically, like, is it more schemes or is it more defense that he's been able to kind of teach you?
He's everything. I think the best thing about him that he allows the quarterback to have his input on the offense, whether that's week to week or the whole playbook. And the first thing that, I had a great relationship with him during the pre-draft process last year when I was coming out. But the first thing, as soon as we hired him, it was, what do you want to run? Everything I wanted to do. He didn't talk about what he did with Josh, with Jackson last year, with other quarterbacks he has. It was, what did I want to do?
I love that.
And so he listened to the quarterback. He sees it from my perspective when the bullets are actually flying, and where my mind goes to during the play and how I get through the read versus coverage. He's really helped me be more of a situational football player. And I think that's going to help me down the road because, I don't have to think big play on first and second down. Really, I just got to be prepared for one down. That's third down. I think, and to me, that's how he explained. That's where quarterback gets played on third down, whether it's third and short, medium, or long. You got to come with it, and then you got to be good in 2-minute drill and red zone. And if you do those three things right as a quarterback, you end up being one of the best in the league.
So that was Cam Ward with the Debo and Joe podcast there, which is James Harrison and Joe Hayden, Pittsburgh Steelers legends up there.
And I feel like there's just a lot. I heard like in the background,
crowd,
people just cheering constantly. Yeah, like a laugh track.
Yeah,
that was good stuff.
No, I thought it was interesting, and it was interesting that like immediately he started going into like the input that Daboll has allowed him to have in the offense, and I thought about that from a couple of perspectives. I mean, number one, I think there's been a lot of kind of reading between the lines this offseason of like in Callahan's offense. And I always am careful with this because when the guy gets punted out the door, everything we've talked about this before, everything the previous place did just sucked. And
new guy's a genius.
Arden Key talking about Vrabel set. Like, I don't know if those guys ever made a single correction ever. I don't know if they ever watched film. It's like, okay, that's a hot take there.
But these guys,
these coaching geniuses here,
did they make corrections?
But I do think, like, reading between the lines this offseason, there was a lot of suggestion that, like, Callahan was like, this is the system we're going to run, and this is what it is, and all those things. Now, I heard Cam's comments on Daboll there about, the involvement that he's had in the offense, and I like it. I also thought, okay, well, Daboll's been pretty successful in his career as an OC. Like, should Cam Ward have as much input in the offense as it appears like he does when it comes to that? Like, I don't they're like calling plays to himself or anything like that based on what we just heard.
Johnny Unitas used to do. It does feel like in the sand,
that's right. But it does feel, I mean, he said it. He's like, he called me and he wasn't really worried about what they did under Josh Allen or Jackson Dart. Like, he wanted to hear my thoughts on what I like to run, what I like to do in the offense, and kind of form the offense around that. I just thought that was a really interesting tidbit that he shared there on the Debo and Joe podcast.
It was. I go back to our last hour as we were talking about, Tennessee and Golish and everything, and that there was at one point I remember interviewing Golish, and this isn't like totally out of the blue or like some revolutionary thing, but he would tell me like on Wednesdays he'd go through and Hendon Hooker could just veto whatever play he wanted to veto out of the playbook. And he's a big, I think everybody talks to some extent about this, like, you know, what does the player do well? Start with that. But some people I think are a lot more married to their systems. I mean, if that's truly, maybe that's sort of the key or one of the keys to Daboll's success is that he's really like
malleable.
Yeah. And yeah, there you go. Good word. Or yeah, it's you know, custom made offense based on, I think you have to be a lot like that. Of course you have your concepts and your things that you do, but I thought it was interesting when Cam said, you know, sees it through my eyes out there. I mean, first of all, they haven't even been through a game together, so they haven't been through a preseason game together. But obviously, they're looking at practice cut-ups and they're going through that stuff. And I mean, if an OC can actually do that and the quarterback can feel like that's happening, that's got to be a great way to build trust. Obviously, Daboll has a method here that has worked, and it makes sense to me to be more. What does this person do well? What can I do with this talent, with these weaknesses and strengths, as opposed to my system's awesome and he's going to learn it?
Yeah, I like the thought of that with your offensive coordinator in terms of just being willing and able to adapt on the fly to that. I mean, everybody on the text lines right now, like, sounds like a shout at Callahan and Holtz. Like, it's just,
you could take it that way.
Trevor says, taught him so much in 5 to 6 months. Fart you, Callahan. That's right. Trevor on the text line. I mean, I did pick up a little bit of that. Maybe that was intentional or unintentional.
Yeah, I don't think it was intentional, but obviously, if you praise the new guy, then it's automatically going to be. So what happened to the last guy? What was the last guy doing?
You won't believe how much I've learned from Daboll in the last 6 months. We hadn't played a game yet.
It's weird because like Brian Callahan didn't tell me that I should grip the football on the laces. It's so thank you, Brian Daboll, for teaching me that. Yeah. No, it's yeah, you're gonna look at that. Like I said, I think Callahan was probably a little bit too. This is what we do, so you should be able to do that. And maybe when you are only around great quarterbacks that are like top of the game, maybe that's actually can be a bad thing for you as a coach. I don't know. I'm trying to make excuses for him way after he's been fired. Yeah. Other than he's an idiot, which is the general consensus.
The prevailing
now.
theme. Yeah. No, like the Ward Daboll partnership here. Like I am interested to see, you know, one of the things that Saleh talked about when Daboll got hired, and Daboll was asked about this a little bit. I think he kind of downplayed it more than most, but you know, the type of offense that the Titans are going to be running this year, it's not the typical Shanahan McVay offense that we're just seeing. It's so spread out throughout the league now with that coaching tree. Now, it's not like the Titans are going to be reinventing the wheel here offensively. Like teams have run the Earhart-Perkins offense before. It's not like defensive coordinators are just going to have no clue what to do when it's out there. And I do think, you know, there's a baseline of concepts and plays and stuff that you're going to try to get throughout the game that's similar throughout all of these offenses. But I am interested to see, like, when you're Daboll and you get more and more film, but really more importantly, more and more time with Cam Ward, how do you adapt and adjust things on the fly in terms of what you're trying to lean into with your calls as time goes on here to try to maximize him? And that's where I think with a guy like Daboll, who's got so much experience in the heat of it doing that I really have a lot of confidence in. Like, you can lean back on that.
Yeah, I think he's about as good a hire as you could have had, other than guys who certainly are just never going to come available for a job like this. Now, there's still going to be moments and plays where it just comes down to, does he see it fast enough and does he put the ball where it needs to be? And no OC can do that for you, right? So, but this is where, again, I think we get to the other side of built-in excuses. This is a built-in sort of demand on Cam Ward in a way when you have a guy with his track record. But it's a great thing, and he seems to be excited about it, and that's what you want to see.
I mean, there's another interesting thing from apparently like somebody there was a collector who was approaching Cam Ward, and the guy Cam Ward looked at the guy, was like, I'm gonna make your card a lot of money this year, man. Like, just gonna make you a lot of money. So we'll see what happens.
So he has a card. He has a rookie card.
Good card, yeah.
Okay. I mean, even if Cam was like, let's say Cam's
Gotta make the price go up.
What if Cam is MVP this year? How much is that? How much does that card gain? Like $10 in value or something? I mean, I don't know. I don't know the market specifics, but it seems like usually it's like way late in a Hall of Fame career or something that you would see like major value.
I don't know, man. Like some of these,
some of the
money that these cards go for, like these sports cards, is just unbelievable. Like, it's crazy. The money that some of these things go for.
Current player cards.
Yeah. Like some of it's just nuts.
Well, then, is it like tied to Bitcoin somehow or what?
Don't know.
Okay.
Don't know. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. More to get to on Cam Ward, the Titans, coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Little Alan Jackson bringing us back in. Rexrode's favorite genre of music.
Yeah, Christian's hit me up with some country. I like it. You know what? I like it. Some Alan Jackson.
I do too.
There you go. Hey, I saw Rex Ryan as an Ella fella. I saw, did you see his
I did
post?
not see that.
Oh,
No.
see, this is the only downside of getting off Twitter is you miss stuff
This
like
Rex Ryan post?
Rex Ryan went to like Ella Langley concert in like Baltimore and like gushed about it, and he said he's an Ella fella. So there you go.
I'm an Ella fella.
I like her.
She's really good.
I guess I am too.
Yeah.
So there you go. Country music all day, baby.
There we go. Taking your thoughts on the Titans, 615-737-1025. Some texture says the card he's talking about sold for like 80,000 already. That's what I'm talking about. Like these numbers are insane.
What?
There's different like types of them too. Like, there's like these platinum ones, and it's crazy.
So it is a little bit like is it a little bit like this digital,
I guess.
these digital
Bitcoin?
resources people
Yeah.
are buying?
Trevor says, according to AI, a high-end signed rookie card would jump up in value by 150 to 300% if he wins league MVP.
And it's already 80K? Is this Tops?
I don't know.
Fleer? Donruss? Like, help me out. Where are we at? I mean, I used to collect cards, when I was a kid. I used to have a Mattingly rookie, Ripken rookie. Had some good ones, man.
Yeah, man.
Might still have them. But that was like, ooh, you might sell this someday for, $2,000.
Yeah.
80K? That's crazy,
It's
man.
a lot of money.
I don't.
Cam wants to make him some more, though.
Okay, so I guess I take back what I said last segment. I guess he can make him a lot more money.
Guess we'll see. We'll see what happens on that front this year. I'm looking through the Athletic right now. A friend of the show, Vic Tafur, has come out with some NFL over/under win totals and predictions. And I was very interested to see what he would do with the Titans, because I have seen both ways with the Titans this year. Last year, I think people looked at the Titans and they said, I forget what the over/under was. I think it was like 4.5 or something like that. People were like, the Titans are going to be absolutely terrible this year. And turns out they were absolutely terrible and did not reach the over on that one. I think the over/under is like 6.5 this year. And Vic from the Athletic, Vic Tafur, is going under 6.5. Says, quote, I don't see it yet with Cam Ward, keyword being yet. And I think Robert Saleh is going to regret not staying with the Niners another year and waiting for a better job to open up next year.
Damn.
Good grief. Okay.
Come on, Vic.
Can we get to the over?
Is this
I'll
gonna,
just take 7. That'd be great. I'd sign up for 7 right now. I know some Titans fans wouldn't because they want a little bit more. They think maybe a bigger jump, but I'd sign up for 7 right now.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, would you like
would.
just sign up? Yeah. I don't know.
For the sake of this program, I think I would.
But
Because I'd be scared to death if not. They're going 3 again.
yeah, I mean, I guess 6 you could still sort of keep it interesting for a while, depending on where the losses are. If a lot of them are late, like again, it's like when it comes down to it, selfishly, I just can't handle the draft stuff
No.
before Halloween. Like I'd like to get to December and there still be
Somewhat meaningful football.
games that we talk about because we care about the games.
Yeah.
Under 6.5 probably isn't going to get that done.
No.
I don't know that I'd sign up for 7 though. We already did our predictions. I think I picked 7, didn't I? I picked 7 and you
we
picked
did
6?
our schedule release ones. We'll have our official ones here.
Yeah, I mean, we can change, of course.
Yeah.
But
I was 6, I think.
you were 6, I was 7, right?
Yeah.
I think that's right.
6, 7.
Is
that still a thing?
I hope not. I just did it because I'm a boomer. So hope you enjoyed that YouTube chat. Apparently YouTube fonts are bigger now and people are
That's good.
freaking out.
The Robert Saleh regretting not staying another year for the Niners and taking another job. That's a shot. It's a low blow from Vic.
Right after that loss of the Jets to open the
Yeah.
season. Calgon, take me away. No. That would be an immediate, like, what have I done moment. What have I done?
I mean, it's
a lot on that opener, man.
There's a lot on the opener. There's some hot takes in here by Mr. Tafur as well from the Athletic. I mean, first off, I think the Rams over/under is set 11.5. He's going under. That's a hot take, I think. I guess that could mean 11 at 6.
Yeah, I still kind of like it though.
Yeah,
I kind of like it. If they get everyone, for some reason, I just feel like it's just not gonna be what everybody hopes. The super team thing doesn't, it goes bad so often. Although it's hard to imagine as loaded. What if they get Diggs too? as their
I
third
know.
receiver.
Are the Cowboys really at 9.5 for their over-under?
That seems a little high.
Like, do they think Caleb Downs is going to be that good?
He's a safety.
I know. Yeah, like he's a really good player. I like Caleb Downs a lot. I mean, their defense. Look, they've addressed some of their defense, but they have Rashawn Gary. I don't know how well that's going to go for them. I've watched Rashawn Gary a lot, pretty close the last couple of years. Hasn't gone very well. We'll see, but I just don't know if their defense is going to be good enough.
No, I that's a high. That's very high.
They're going to score a lot of points, or at least they should, with Pickens and Lamb and Dak playing the way he is.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily translate to wins. And the NFC, a lot of good teams. I mean, their division. I guess their division is, it's kind of like how you view the Commanders.
Yeah,
you could look at it like they're the clear second best team, but yeah, that seems a little high. That's like Cowboys bump for them. Yeah. But it's also, again, you're trying to get people to you're setting things for people to bet. So sometimes fan base factors into that.
I will say everybody is that I've seen this offseason, and this kind of factors into the Cam Ward discussion. Everybody wants to make the Cam Ward Jackson Dart comparison, and I get it. Obviously the reporting is pretty clear that the Giants tried to move up with the Titans and take Cam Ward. So I understand all that. A lot of hype this offseason about the Saints and their offense under Kellen Moore and Tyler Shuck. Like we mentioned Victor Ford's piece. I think they're over under win total 7.5. It's a horrible division, but 7.5, and he's got them going over there. And people are really talking up Tyler Shuck this offseason. I mean, I'm interested to see it. Like if you're a Titans fan, you're looking at it and you're like, well, I definitely need Cam Ward to outperform Jackson Dart and Tyler Shuck. That'd be great heading into year 2.
Yeah, there is some but there was some promise that I saw last year for sure, but yeah, that seems like it might be a little bit overblown. I guess that's another thing where you look at a team's division and it's like, if you have a pulse, you're gonna have a chance. You got a chance in that division. Speaking of the Giants, how about, did you see the Scadaboo thing?
Oh yeah.
I think I'm going to distance myself from Cam Scadaboo at this point. Okay, I take back all I said about wanting to take Cam Scadaboo on my team. I mean, the kid's not all there. Like, what are you doing, man?
He's doing a backflip after. I mean, what was his
and
injury?
Falling? Yeah, the broken ankle, right?
Broken ankle. And he coming back and he did a backflip and just fell down. I was like, good grief.
Like, these guys have you can't, ride like a super fast Peloton in their contract. He's out here doing this. John Harbaugh. I'd like to see John Harbaugh absolutely hammer him for that.
Yeah.
Someone put on the text line here, this Cam rookie, gold vinyl NFL Shield rookie patches, and it's going for $48,999, $48K, $50K. So these are not tops, right? What's the brand? Anyone tell me?
No idea. Oh man, Dennis on the text line says Joe does the 6'7", apologizes for having a boomer moment. 30 seconds later, drops a Calgon, take me away. Do younger people get that reference?
No, younger people. That was a commercial that was popular in like the
late 70s, early 80s.
I think it was the late 70s. Yeah. It was like when we were watching Little House on the Prairie, which my wife and I watched some this weekend. Okay. Laura Ingalls Wilder, look into it. There's a reboot. Don't watch the reboot. Watch the original. Micah Landon, great stuff.
My wife started watching the reboot.
What'd she think?
I don't know. She just started it last night. I'll have to get her thoughts.
Okay,
today.
Yeah, get her thoughts. It just, do we have to reboot everything?
We got to come up with some better ideas.
Little House on the Prairie was perfect. I also read the books when I was little.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. We will switch gears, get into the Predators coming up next, including a take I saw on the Predators this weekend that floored me. We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
I mean, we could mix it up a little. Oh, this is Ella, though, isn't it?
Sure is.
See, I'm not enough of an Ella fella. Which one is this one?
Weren't for the Wind? There you go. She's pretty good.
She is good. Rex and I, Nolansville, brothers in Nolansville Arms. Now, Rex.
Keep your shoes on, both of you.
I was going to say, I'm not as interested in people wearing sandals.
Shout out to Ray. We got to get him on the show at some point.
We should.
We have to get the dump button ready, but we have to get him on the show at some point. Be good to go. I mean, he's on TV. He knows how to play the game. You can keep it clean.
It seems like it, yeah. That was a great Hard Knocks, by the way. Had to set the all-time record for F-bombs, right? Like so. In any show.
Yeah, probably so. Probably so. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. The RexRant with Joe Rexrode coming up here in just a few minutes. So Dom Lucian at The Athletic has come out with a model. He comes out all these models throughout the year of like analytical data and all these things. And what he came out with late last week was NHL teams that have improved the most this offseason. So I'm reading this, and, you know, there's all these factors that go into how good your team's going to be heading into a year. And basically his point in this is, hey, you know, on paper, it's very simple, this process. Players coming in versus players that are shipped out, how much better on paper are these teams from where they ended off this past year heading into the offseason? And the number one team that has improved, according to this model, the Nashville Predators.
Boom.
This offseason. So you've got Maverick Bourque, Ross Colton, Jack Drury, Hoglander, Alexander Kerfoot coming in, Haula, LaRue, Svechkov out. And if you want to take it back even farther than that, you can start talking about, you know, Cole Smith and McCarron and all those guys. But based on where the roster ended last year with those guys coming in, Haula, LaRue, Svechkov out, a net rating added of plus 27 by this metric that Lucian uses here at The Athletic. So it means the Predators have, by this model, gotten better than any other team. And basically, like, I won't read the whole thing here, but it basically says if you're surprised by Nashville landing in the top spot, that makes two of us. But it basically, you look at the bottom six players that they've added, and the bottom six players that they've added were way better than the bottom six players than they had. Like, that's basically it. So it doesn't change the top six formula all that much, but the bottom six players that they brought in, plus Maverick Bourque, who's going to be, I think, in their top six, they have basically just highly upgraded their floor, is basically what this means.
Right. So he says Nashville's forward group started the summer in the bottom five. It's a lot closer to average now. Also, if you're surprised by Nashville in the top spot, that makes two of us. And he says it's admittedly a weird result, given that Bourque is the big ad, but it's still, I mean, well, I think it also speaks a little bit to a terrible free agent class and just how, like, basically massive improvements are only available for you if you want to make a big trade in this league this summer.
Right.
So there's that too. But still, I still look at it like, hey, that's good. I mean, you've upgraded yourself. Obviously, Bourque is going to be a big storyline here, but these other guys too. You feel like you've improved yourself. So good for the Preds.
Yeah, I think they've improved themselves. I mean, in the case of, you know, Drury and Hoglander, obviously Bourque, like, they've gotten younger at some of these spots too. And that's especially when you go back to last year. And again, you're talking Cole Smith and McCarron and those guys, like, you're getting a little bit younger. You know, Ross Colton's an interesting piece. Like, I do think they've got a good kind of like middle six right now. I still don't know that their top end is good enough when it comes to, like, you know what Forsberg's going to be. It's Stamkos at age 36. He's going to be putting in, you know, 40 goals again. We'll see those things. But, like, they've clearly upgraded their forward group here. And then the question is now going to be, how many young guys can step in and add to that mix next year and what that's going to look like? They're going to need some of them to do it. Is Brady Martin going to be of it? We've talked a lot about that this offseason, so we'll see. But I found that to be very interesting that they are, according to this model, number one. Like, New York is at number 2. Washington's at 3. So those teams have made a lot of moves as well. Jeff Kealty also over the weekend, out with the Nashville Predators. He's been hired by the San Jose Sharks as their assistant GM, Joe, which means now you've got, I mean, they hired a ton of people under Chris McFarland now that have come in. They totally reshaped the front office and that structure there. And the old AGMs, you're talking Brian Poyle now out, Jeff Kealty now out, Nickel is still there. So they have changed over basically the entire front office. I mean, it's an overhaul that has taken place.
Yeah, and I always was just, this can happen. I was also impressed, like at times talking to Brian Callahan, but just saying, I was always impressed talking to Jeff Kealty. I think he's a really sharp guy, and seems to know what he's doing, and hopefully it works out well for him, and that will, get him on a path to being a GM in this league someday.
I think he's going to a good spot. Like it's people working for the Sharks is probably going to end up going pretty well for him over the next few years.
Yeah, and so a lot of the heavy lifting on what could be a special team here moving forward has been done, but it's good to be part of successful organizations, and sometimes it's through no fault of your own. Could be, it's hard to be a part of stagnating organizations, and we kind of knew that the Preds were going to change everything over. And I was really wondering with him, thought maybe he might be like, if there was one holdover, it might be him. But the bottom line is McFarland has brought in people to be his top people. And so this is, I think, a necessary and good move for him.
Well, and I think the fan base is a little rejuvenated here, and that, that'll last for a little while, and we'll see kind of what the job looks like for McFarland as they continue to change this thing over. But how many times have we been on the air taking calls for it's time to change things up, it's time for a new regime? Well, you got it now. And I think even at the beginning of this, there was some Predators fans, even when they hired McFarland, that were a little skeptical of, all right, like, does he have some mandate where he's coming in, he's the GM, he's clearly in charge, but they're not going to get rid of like Brian Poyle. They're not going to change things over with Jeff Kealty or their scouting staff and all these things. And clearly, McFarland has got full reign here to do whatever he wants. And I think there's an excitement that comes with that from Predators fans. Now, that does not guarantee anything. I don't know where it's going to go from here, but I think there's an excitement that Predators fans have here, kind of a rejuvenated feeling in the fan base.
Yes. Now, texter saying now scouts, so I don't know. We'll see. I suppose, sometimes there are in pro sports organizations scouting changes that are not announced.
Right.
It's kind of quietly things happen. I know, like with the Titans in recent years, I think actually PK had a couple of those
to unearth them. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, look, certainly I think the whole thing is getting or has gotten a complete diagnostics check. So yeah, this is it. You can't, whatever they do from now on, if they make mistakes or whatever, I don't think you can assign it to the DNA. This is where the DNA, that's been a totally fair conversation with the Preds. 100% different from what PK tries to do with the Titans.
Yep.
Finally, to me now, it's a different DNA.
Well, it's a different DNA, and to me, this again goes back to the top. Like, this starts with the owner. Like, the owner has greenlit, all right, let's change it up here.
Yeah.
And again, I have no idea if it could be a total disaster. I have no clue. But I think we've reached the point where you want to see it. One texter says, probably getting my hopes up, but I'm kind of excited for the Preds. I know there are no huge moves, but I like the direction that we seem to be going. That's the thing, too, about the bottom six, like going back to being ranked number one here by The Athletic in terms of, like, on paper, the most improved team this offseason. I also think it puts so much internal pressure on the young guys, which I kind of like. Like, I think we reached the point, and we've talked about this with some of these young prospects, where I don't know if put up or shut up is the right word, but it's like in some ways with a guy like Kimmel, it's somewhat reminiscent to me of like the Tomasino stuff. It's like, all right, let's go. Like, let's get this thing going here.
Yeah.
And if you don't show it, then it's time to move on at that. There's just there are too many prospects that you've got in your system to just be waiting around forever on guys,
Absolutely. And the Preds here with this net rating of plus 27, again, 2 of the 3 guys out that are listed are LaRue and Svechkov, who not long ago we were talking about that. Svechkov's got this big opportunity. Zach LaRue with the sandpaper and the skill, and now they're on the way out. So Kimmel may be the next one. But hopefully he's a different outcome.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. The RexRant with Joe Rexrode is coming up next. Cory Curtis from News 2 with us at 8 o'clock. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. An oldie but a goodie.
Oh, yeah.
It is time for the RexRant, served by the wine cellar in Hendersonville. Man, Bruce was a little fired up on that one, huh? That was a long time ago.
That was
good.
Yeah. I like this song too, by the way.
That's good. Good stuff.
I'm becoming a country music enthusiast.
You are, right before our very eyes. Rexrode, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So let me ask you this question. I got some questions for you.
Okay.
Who's the face of the NFL?
Mahomes.
Okay. Here's my
Sure.
answer. Who gives a fart?
Yeah, I don't care.
Who's the face of the NBA?
LeBron.
Old guy.
Come on.
But I could say Wemby.
Sure.
You could go younger. You could go SGA. And LeBron is the legend.
I still go
Again,
LeBron.
I don't care. Who's the face of the NHL? I keep asking these questions of things I don't care. But I'm just curious of your answers.
I mean, McDavid, he's got the personality of this door over here.
Right. He's the best player.
Yeah.
So, but is that the face? I don't give a fart. Who's the face of MLB?
Shohei?
Yeah, I mean, I probably would say that.
Yeah.
Okay. But again, who freaking cares? Do we ever talk about this?
Not really.
We never talk about this. Now, one time we did. We talked about the face of the time. That might have been our first argument on this show.
Taylor Lewan being the face of the franchise in 2015?
We were saying like
2014?
in the previous years, I was like, yeah, Mariota was the face. And you were like, no, it was Lewan. Like, Lewan, the face of like post-whistle personal fouls.
Yeah, man.
He ended up being a very good player. But no one talks about who the face of this or that is, as far as I know, because no one cares. And yet, and good for you again for being on social media, this whole crap around Caitlin Clark, it won't end. It won't end. And the thing is, some of the people doing this are friends of mine. Some are people I absolutely hate. And mostly it's a bunch of randoms with just this whole, she's the face of the WNBA. She's not the face. I don't care. Who cares? Look, she's not the best player in the WNBA. It's Asia Wilson. She's the best player. So you could say she's the face of the WNBA. Okay, fine. The league has gotten way more popular since Caitlin Clark came in. So you could say she's the face of the league if you want. Sure, whatever. She is the most popular, or I guess she's the most loved and hated player. I guess, right? Why she's hated, I don't know. Why she's loved, I guess she's a great player. But, I mean, again, some of the people are just co-opting her for this ridiculous argument about everything in the world that somehow has been centered on this one athlete. It's insane. Can we please? And again, the answer is probably just to do what you did and just get off social media. But this argument won't end. It just goes on and on and on. No, she's the face. She's the face. Whoever talks about the face of leagues?
Yeah,
Why is this some huge thing now?
I don't think it comes up very much. Like, I do think, being in a hockey background, it's come up a little bit more in hockey, just from the standpoint of
you need more people to be faces.
They've been so hesitant to have any sort of a personality that I think the conversation in hockey has been, can somebody step up? Like, I remember when PK was here, it's like, thank God somebody's got a personality that's out there, right? But that's about it. Like the NFL doesn't need conversations about faces of the league. If you ask Adele this question, he'd say, "Oh, we got a bunch of them." That's the beautiful part about being the NFL. Like the NBA, there's a lot of things the NBA as a league has done, particularly over like the last 5 years, that I think is just stupid and I absolutely hate. But the one thing you could never say about the NBA is they don't have any personality. They don't generate conversation. I mean, they do. Like, it's fun to watch. Like, I haven't seen a lot of what you're talking about with Caitlin Clark. I did see the Manuel Acho comments on like how the league would be better off without her. And
I mean,
good God.
Some of the takes,
right.
I mean, some of the takes that have come out of this is just like, yeah, it's exhausting, man. And, Caitlin Clark, the other day, she had a 40-10, first 40-10 game, unbelievable game. 2 huge games this weekend and 2 big wins for the Fever. She was also averaging 11 points a game going to that. She doesn't, her percentages aren't as good as you hope they'd be. She leads the league in turnovers. She's not, she's not the 11th best guard. That's some people who hate her, who are downgrading her. She's also not the best player. I mean, she's a great player, and I think she could someday be the best player, but she's got to get better. She's got to get tougher. She's got to be better on defense. It's half the game. I mean, how many times have I had that rant? People are already ripping me for another WNBA rant. Hey, man, I'm just saying, okay? Neil says, who is Asia Wilson? Again, that's fine. I mean, look, if you follow sports, you don't know who Asia Wilson is, okay, you just don't like that sport. So then ignore the sport. You know, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to watch every sport out there. You can do whatever you want to do. Somebody asking, Keith asking, who's the face of 102.5 The Game? How about you?
I don't think it's me. That's a good question. Who is the face of the game? Ian?
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. I was going to say, maybe Chase.
Maybe so. Yeah.
He's our fearless leader.
He is.
Right?
Yeah.
Chase the face.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very
How
nice
about that? Texter says, just get off social media, Rex. It'll truly make life better. My stress and blood pressure has dropped drastically after disconnecting. Yeah, no,
It's pretty nice.
If I get to the point, I mean, again, I've said this before, but I'm still reliant on the news feed aspect of it to a point. And also, I don't think I can totally get off it unless at some point I don't have a writing job anymore.
Sure.
Could be fired any day. You never know. So that would solve it for me. But I'm with you, man. I try to do it. It's just, this is one of those things. It just won't go away. And it's just like, there's plenty of arguments that go on and on and on forever and ever and ever. And it's very annoying. But this one is just like, why does this matter? Why is it so important to declare this person is the face of this? Because I think all these leagues that we mentioned, you're right. The NHL, that's a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's multiple answers, and I don't think people scream at each other about it all day, right? Like, who should be the MVP? That's
sure.
a fine argument. Who should be all pro? Who should be on the all NBA first team? Make the All-Star game, rookie of the year. These are all fine. Who's the face of what? We're just making up things to scream about.
Well, it's
all about her, and it's just
at least with the MVP stuff, there's an actual award that you're arguing about.
Right. It's a real tangible
thing that somebody's going to win and somebody else is not going to win. This is just such a eye of the beholder conversation that nobody could ever possibly be right or wrong on. It's a waste of energy. And to your point, who really cares? There are great players. Is Joe Burrow the face of the NFL? Whatever that means. Probably not. He's a great player to watch in the NFL, right? Is Myles Garrett the face of the league? Probably not. But man, I sure like watching Myles Garrett play football.
Right? Is it always just the best player? Like LeBron? You're probably right. I mean, I think some people would be like, he has been, but maybe not anymore. Whatever. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's all just. It's taken away to me. It's made it so exhausting to even, because I like watching WNBA. I think Caitlin Clark again has handled all this very well, and she is a great player. She's not a perfect player, but all of the arguments that are around her. She has to be exhausted. Talk about someone who should be off social media. I hope she is, because it's so unfair that she gets dragged into this crap.
Yeah, and like you said. Played well the other night. Was it 40-11?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah. No, she can go off, and
leads the league in assists. So also have to factor that in. Nobody seems to care about that either. But
right. And that's really where she's great is her vision. It's just that you can't lead the league in turnovers. You've got to cut that down. And I think some of it is probably a little bit of the Jordan thing of, poor Jordan, who went 1-3 against the Pistons in the playoff series and got his butt kicked, and he finally got in the gym, and dealt with it. And that's probably going to be part of her growth as a player. But I just hope that at some point we can talk about that and the game and the play and not stupid, just again, culture war tied, but also just even if it's just about basketball, that the arguments are just exhausting on both sides of it.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Cory Curtis from News 2 with us coming up next for his weekly visit. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Christian Skelton here with you on this Monday morning. We head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And welcome in our friend Cory Curtis to the program from News 2. Cory, good morning. How are we doing?
Well, I am a delight. How are you today?
Also a delight, even more so now that you were on the program here today. It's SEC Media Days, and I'm sorry that you're not I assume maybe you are. Are you participating in SEC Media Days down there in Tampa?
I am delightfully not.
That's good.
And I'm actually off this week. I'm on vacation.
Wow. That's how much dedication you've got to this program.
That's very kind of you, Cory.
It's very, very kind. Very,
well,
very
the
kind.
pay is amazing.
That's
the
right.
$0 I get for this hit is amazing.
Well, it's a lot of money coming your way. So let's just start there. So Tennessee is talking today, Josh Heupel and the Vols.
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting year for him and that program because, in a lot of ways, you bring in Joey Aguilar last year. He plays really well. They end up 8-4 with some disappointing losses at home in the mix. And now a lot of people wondering, like, okay, where's it all going? Like, is he maxed out at Tennessee? Can he kind of rebuild this thing back into a playoff contender over the next couple of years with some highly talented quarterbacks coming in? What do you make of where things stand with Josh Heupel and the Vols heading into this year? What will be year 6 for him in the program?
Well, I mean, he's reached a point where he has kind of set a bar, right? Where there's an expectation for success. And then, at Tennessee and other schools like Tennessee, they want to see you, obviously grow that success. They don't want to see, slides back or that stay back. So, at Tennessee, you can go 8-4. I just don't know that you can go 8-4 repeatedly and keep your job and keep the fans because their expectations, are higher. So, and also being year 6, I know these are different times with NIL and the portal. So it to me, and we're going to find out, it was easier to be self-sustaining when you recruited guys, you developed them, and you knew what was coming through your team each year. And now these teams are all basically rebuilding half their roster every year. And so, being that self-sustaining monster, like say Alabama was, it's going to be interesting to see if teams can pull that off. In Indiana, it's a good example because they've been, really strong 2 years in a row by rebuilding their roster a couple of times. And so, I think understandably at Tennessee, there should be, if Indiana can win it all, there should be an expectation that Tennessee can perform at that level. And so I think there are high expectations for Heupel that he has to deliver. And if, and I know there's an understanding that he's got young quarterbacks, but, he's the head coach. That's the roster he built.
Well, I think you hit on something there, Cory. Kurt Cignetti, I think, has made things tougher on a lot of coaches, and Josh Heupel would be in that boat, right? Of like, I mean, I can't blame any fan base who has a coach who's doing well but hasn't been able to put it all together for saying, well, how is that possible in Bloomington, freaking Indiana?
Yeah,
and why can't we do it?
Programs in the country.
Now, John Adams had a column about Heupel recently, making the point that he's won between 7 and 11 games every year. So 4 other Tennessee football coaches have had 5 straight winning seasons. That's Fulmer, Bill Battle, Doug Dickey, and Robert Nealand. And Heupel added that.
Lane Kiffin didn't pull that off?
Not quite.
Yeah, if only, yeah. I'm sure he would have. I'm sure Natties would have been flowing in if not for that ill-fated move. But no, I mean, there's a consistency there that maybe some people don't realize how impressive it is. So to your point about the year over year changes, let's say he can keep doing that and has a consistent, 9-win-ish kind of program, which at this point, that puts you on the fringe of the playoffs.
Yeah.
is that enough? Or at some point, is it like, okay, it's time to go gamble for someone that maybe has a higher ceiling and can actually win a championship?
I mean, if you're winning 9 games a year, and we're still sitting at 16 or 12 in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not really going to get you there most of the time. So if they expand the playoffs, you're right. It probably gets there, and I think that's because once
not if we go to 24, because if we go to 24, then to me, people think that's going to be more job security for coaches, but I don't buy it.
Yeah. Look, I think at Tennessee, fans want national championships. Whether that's reasonable or not, people can argue about that. They spend for national championships. The fans support for national championships. The support that the school provides the student athletes is at a national championship level. And so I think if he wins 8, 9, 10 games a year, but is never in the conversation for the national championship, I think that there will be some fatigue, like say for the Buffalo Bills, where the expectation is for more. And how long that takes, I don't know. But, I think with the amount of money now that goes into not just coaches, but NIL, I think that leash gets shorter for everybody.
Well, let's switch gears to Vanderbilt then, because, obviously, you're replacing Diego Pavia. You got a heck of a recruit coming in with Jared Curtis. And I've talked about this. Like, I'm not saying you got to go 10-2 next year, but I do think, showing some level of follow-up if you're Clark Lee is important from the standpoint of, all right, let's prove that this isn't just some fluke and that this isn't just totally relying on Diego Pavia, and that there's some staying power this year for this Vanderbilt football program. How much do you buy that? How important is this year from that standpoint, do you think, for Clark Lee?
Well, look, I totally think there's a Tom Brady element to this, where, you got the question of, was New England, was it all Brady, or was it Belichick, or was it both? And then, with Vanderbilt's been bad forever. I mean, except for that blip on the radar with James Franklin, they've been bad forever. They were bad with Clark Lee. And then Diego Pavia strolls in and, turns the program on its ear. So you're right. That's the big question. What is your staying power after Pavia, who was a lightning rod, as big of a lightning rod of an individual player, maybe can't since Cam Newton. And so that is the big question. And, Jared Curtis, has a lot of pressure on him to continue to build that program. But I agree with you. They can't slide back to 3-9, even 4-8. I think if they go 6-6, 7-5, I think they're still okay. But I know Clark thinks he's got his best overall roster. And so, it's still the SEC though. And, Pavia was a difference maker. And are there difference makers on that roster to win them games? And, because Stowers is a high draft pick as well. And so it's a really big question for them. There's not many times when we say that Vanderbilt is one of the more interesting stories of the country, but I think they are because of the question you brought up.
Who do you think is better this year, Tennessee or Vanderbilt?
Oh, gosh.
They played a day at a neutral site. You have to bet a lot of money.
I will go with Tennessee just because historically they've got more, and Pavia's not there. And as good as Jared was at Nashville Christian, it was Nashville Christian. This is the SEC, and at least George has had a year at Tennessee to practice and be around all that. And so, I hate to equate it to the quarterback position, but I kind of got to go there right now and, and Vanderbilt's spending money on its roster. So don't get me wrong. But Tennessee is traditionally recruited at a higher level and has more money. And so, with Pavia gone, there, I guess I need some prove it. I need some prove it after Pavia.
Cory, so L'Jarius Sneed has said in Kansas City that he's out to, quote, reclaim who he is. Quote, not to prove anything, but to show people I am who I was. Your confidence level that would happen, and if it does happen, how mad are you and Titans fans going to be?
I'm not going to be mad at all. I mean, the guy can do whatever he wants. You can't. You don't get to rewrite history. All right. He could go and tear it up this year in Kansas City. Still doesn't mean he didn't just no show in Tennessee. I mean, because that's what it was. And look, the thing is, I can't tell you how hurt he was. If he's hurt the whole time, he can't play. But like we barely got to talk to him. I don't know if I ever felt like I got a real answer from him about anything. So all I know about him is he's a guy who showed up, got paid a bunch of money, got hurt within seconds, virtually never practiced, and then was involved in a unfortunate police incident and was gone.
Other than that, it went well.
I mean, this is one of the worst tenures of any free agent signing the Titans have ever had. And it wasn't a free agent, it was a trade. Look, the trade made sense, but and I know Jared brought up over and over again about how the knee was an issue and how Kansas City was willing to let him go. That's all true, but this team has needed help at corner, and I could understand going for that. I could. And then you give him the money though, and you just never know how guys are going to respond to it. And this one did not appear to respond particularly well, although I still remember his suit from his opening press conference, and that thing was pretty slick.
Good point. Cam Ward had some interesting comments, Cory, about Daboll, and a lot of it, some people have taken it as a shot at Callahan and the previous coaches, which you could.
Why wouldn't you take a shot at Callahan and the previous coaches? They were terrible.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and maybe I don't know that he necessarily was trying to. I just think, yeah. I mean, he was just like, yeah, he's taught me so much that I didn't know just in the last few months about football, But a lot, the thrust of that was Daboll kind of going to him and saying, what do you like? Let's put in what you like, take out what you don't like, things like that. I think coaches talk about that a lot, but maybe some don't do it as much as they say. But what do you think when you hear that?
I agree that every coach asks a quarterback what they like and what they don't like. But I still also think coaches are pretty much going to do what they want to do. All right. So, if they want to throw the ball 800 times, they're going to throw the ball 800 times. They may toss out some plays the quarterback doesn't like, but they're still going to do it. All right. So, I mean, it makes, I know I bang on Callahan pretty hard because it didn't go well, but I don't think he's a complete ignoramus when it comes to working with quarterbacks. I think I'm certain he asked him what he liked and what he didn't like and tried to curtail it around him. He just wasn't an effective leader. That's all.
Well, Cory, it was great stuff as always, even more so that you took time out of your vacation to be with us. The check is in the mail. It'll be there soon.
You know what? You want to know the honest truth on this?
Yeah.
I forgot.
I see.
You forgot you're on vacation?
No, I didn't forget I was on vacation.
You forgot to tell us not to call him.
And my phone, my cat jumped up on me and my phone rang, and I was like, oh, I guess I better wake up.
This made a vacation day even better for you. We just enhanced it. You're off to a great start, man.
I agree.
It's a staycation, so it's really no problem. I'm just chilling out for the week. This is basically rest before camp.
If you get bored, call us back, man.
Yeah,
we'll be around all week.
Camp is a joke now. I mean, it's not even camp.
No,
they shouldn't call it training camp anymore. They should just call it practice with a lot of dudes. I mean, that's all they're doing.
An overcrowded practice
with a lot of dudes.
Yeah. In our day, we had 3 a days. They smashed heads all day long.
Look, I remember 2 a days in pads, both practices, and I mean, it was a grind for coaches, players, and media because we were out there for all of it, because we were allowed to watch all of it and we were allowed to shoot all of it. And I don't think it ever cost Jeff Fisher a game. Maybe he would have gone 9-7.
Woo!
It's amazing though how that works, right? Like no one suffered for it, and yet it's so important to take that access away.
You know, they're going to do what they want to do, so that's fine. But I just think the paranoia has reached extreme levels, and I think part of that is like there's so much money on the line, and coaches don't get 4 and 5 years anymore.
Yeah,
I get that. I think, and this isn't just coaches. This is people in life in general. We spend way too much time worrying about things that don't matter.
Well said. He's like a philosopher. Corey, have a great rest of your vacation, my friend.
I would like to be called Socrates from now on.
Yes, please. Please. That's how we will refer to you from here on out. Cory Curtis from News 2, our guest here on the program.
Socrates.
Socrates will be with us next Monday at 8 o'clock as well. We'll react to what he had to say coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Our football offseason coverage on 102.5 The Game presented by Tennessee Brew Works and Parman Tractor and Equipment. Appreciate Cory Curtis for being with us in the last segment. Joe just found out some wonderful breaking news.
This music is too cheery for the news of the SEC Media Days will be in Nashville in 2027.
Welcome back, baby. Let's go.
So I guess that means we'll be there.
Assuming we're not fired before then, yeah.
That's a good point. So Michael Casagrande tweets this. It says, SEC Media Days will not be returning to Hoover next year or probably ever again. Sankey says Nashville 27. I will say this again. I remember when they first announced Nashville. I'm sure I probably talked about this. I was there at SEC Media Days in Hoover, and they're like, Nashville's going to get it whatever year, you know. And Tommy Dees, my sports editor, was right next to me. He's like, I'm going to write a column about this. Like, okay. And I wrote my column, and it was like, this is stupid. We're too good for SEC Media Days. It should be in Hoover every year. He's like, that's your column? Like, yes, publish it.
Yes, that's it.
He's like, really? He's like, wow, this guy's a real whiner. But I'm serious. Hoover is a perfect place for SEC Media Days. It actually benefits from SEC Media Days. Like, the goofballs who show up in Hoover, they're part of the tradition. Like, it should be there. If you want to pop off, go somewhere else here and there, fine. I don't understand why you're taking away from Hoover and a fun tradition. You're in a ballroom doing interviews.
I mean, I'm reading a story now of 2015. Steve Spurrier celebrating the conclusion of SEC Media Days at Arby's in Hoover.
Exactly.
I mean, come on.
No, Hoover has charm, and it's actually the perfect size. People kind of hang out. There's some certain spots you go to. It's fun. It gets lost here. No, why does anybody care here that SEC? Does anybody listening? I understand if you're a fan or an alum of an SEC team, and because it's here, you're gonna like go over to the hotel or get autograph. Let us know. I'm sure there's a few. I never saw any of them when it was here before. I didn't see one person in a lobby or anything. It's just a bunch of people in a hotel in suits. They go, let's do interviews. It's pointless. Put it back in Hoover. But then again, this is not nearly close to the top of the list of things to complain to Greg Sankey
No,
about,
but they're clearly going to make it a tour, man. They're going all over the place. Big cities, Tampa, Dallas, Atlanta, Nashville. It's just going to keep going that way, I think.
Again, like I get occasionally, okay, go to Texas, you have teams in Texas. Go to Florida, you have teams. Okay. But home base should be Hoover.
I agree with you.
Just like home base of the SEC basketball tournament should be here. Perfect here. It's awesome here. That's the kind of city we are. We have events like that. The SEC Media Days is one of the dumbest events of the year.
But hey, it's coming back next year. And I do think, I agree with most everything you just said. Now I start thinking about SEC football championship and how it's Atlanta. It's always been Atlanta. I wouldn't mind seeing it come here for a little bit.
We should get it.
I agree.
We should 100% get it. So why don't you do that, Greg? How about you give us the football game and not the suits blabbing at the podium like you are right now as we speak?
He is talking right now. Some other news, breaking news in college sports. Ward Manuel, athletic director at Michigan, is stepping down at the end of the calendar year.
Oh, what a shock.
Yeah. Seemed very confident he wasn't going to get fired. And I guess he's right. He's not getting fired per se, but he's stepping down at the end of the calendar year. The school has announced today. There you go.
Yeah. Here's another great social media thing that we've had in the last week. It's mostly if you follow Michigan or Detroit media. So there's some people who put it out there to get fired a week ago. Then some people dunked on them. I mean, all along he was dead man walking, guys. It was writing on the wall. So they've negotiated something so he can ask to step down. That's what the president just put out a memo that he asked to step down and he'll see out the year. Yeah. He was sacrificed because of all this stuff. So you call it whatever you want. The people who originally said this were right all along, and he's out there trying to damage control it and whatever. And it was basically a foregone conclusion. So I guess the people who were just dunked on social media can now go.
Have now gone dunked.
Can now go dunk.
It's good.
Dunk on them.
But at least, Ward Manuel gets to hang out for another 5 months or so.
What I want to, good for him. Who's the face of the Michigan investigation is what I want to know. Who is the face of that? I say Harbs. The Harbster, baby. Jimmy Harbs.
Maybe so.
He knew nothing.
Yaxel Lindeborg, he's talking all kinds of stuff. Like, just get him in there too.
Yaxel is like just trashing Cam Boozer after a summer league
basketball.
the summer league championship win. Saying Boozer gets all the calls and they puckered up and they're not built for the summer league title game like me.
Look,
Yaxel, save it for the season, baby. We need you to compliment Draymond and not get in fights with him.
I hope he doesn't rein it in, but I think he might have to rein it in a little bit. I don't know how that's going to go.
If he becomes like a good player in the NBA, he will be.
Imagine him and Draymond on the same team.
I mean,
if they're both like, if he's really good,
it could be really fun, and it could be like really disastrous too.
Like oil and water.
The Michigan State thing is a real thing. Like, dude, Yaxel, don't talk about it. Don't talk about how Michigan just won the national title.
I think you got to go in there the first day. You establish a little bit of dominance over Draymond Green.
Hang a little banner. Hang a little Michigan.
Because Draymond's never been known to overreact or anything. That wouldn't end poorly.
Remember, the guy that he punched was also a Michigan product.
That's
like
true.
There's a correlation here. I don't know how we started talking about this.
I don't either. 615-737-1025, our phone number. We'll get back into the Vols coming up next, who are speaking later today at SEC Media Days. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Robby and Rexrode, presented by Green Ventures Landscaping for homes and businesses that want to stand out, not blend in. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. We're live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. SEC Media Days rolling on down in Tampa, and Tennessee speaking later today. Listen, I'll be totally frank with you, Joe. Like, as far as like what Josh Heupel is going to say today, I have watched enough Josh Heupel press conferences in general, much less enough SEC Media Days Josh Heupel press conferences to know that he is going to say basically nothing. He will say a lot, but nothing up there today. So that will be interesting to watch, I guess. But I do think they are a very fascinating team heading into this year. We've talked earlier in the show about, we spent all offseason about, all right, well, there's just questions at quarterback. You've got questions on defense. There's the whole Chaz Coleman thing of he's not going to play. Is that going to make them just in a huge bind on the defensive side of the ball? And the schedule, you throw all that on top of it, and you could see a scenario. I mean, I think their Vegas over-under win total is 7.5. So you can see a scenario where, they're 7-5, or are they 6-6? Like that's a very real possibility for Tennessee this year. Now, the point I made earlier is like if they do get good quarterback play, which for the most part they've gotten under Josh Heupel, if they can have some guys step up in a new defense with Jim Knowles coming in, could they get to 9-3? Could they get to 10-2? Like, could they be a team that is maybe a surprise to some people this year and on the fringe of maybe being in the conversation for the college football playoff? Like, it's not crazy that could happen for Tennessee this year. So what do you make of that? Like, and if that's going to happen, what has to go right for Tennessee? How well equipped are they to make that a reality heading into this year based on the schedule and everything that they've got kind of working both for and against them heading into the year?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're better equipped than a lot of people think. And kind of to your point, we have talked a lot about Heupel, talked a lot about, okay, what's it look like? How if they are like 7-5 or something like that, like I've said, well, if the quarterback situation for next year looks good, that's a very different 7-5 than you still have questions or whatever. But we haven't entertained much of the other side of it. And I think it's there. Like I like getting Texas early, coming to your place for their first road game of the year. I like that opportunity. But if you consider at Texas A&M, we'd agree on that as their toughest game, and then probably that Texas game. It's arguably the most talented team in the country as your second toughest game. And it's still a game that I look at. I do not equate that game to past years when they're playing Georgia, either home or road. You're like, well, forget that one. Next. Or even Saban era Bama, right? Like, I don't equate this the same way. There are serious questions about Sark. I think Arch Manning is going to be very good this year, but we'll see. Like, is he going to be peak Arch Manning the way he played at times late last year or not? I don't know that. It's not an unwinnable game. Let's say you lose it, though. I can go on the rest of that schedule, and I can absolutely talk myself into 10-2. Bama at home, absolutely. I mean, there are a lot of games that are somewhere in the toss-up range.
Sure.
You can absolutely beat Alabama at home. Can you beat LSU in Lane November 21st? Lane, that team is talented. I'm not sure their quarterback. I like him. I like his talent. I'm not sure that it's like a championship level situation there. And they brought in a lot of guys, but there's also a ton of pressure on that team. That could be a night game in November in Neyland Stadium. I mean,
well, that's the third part too for LSU of a gauntlet. Now they've got these first two at home, but LSU in November, they've got November 7th home against Alabama, November 14th home against Texas, and November 21st on the road at Tennessee. That's a heck of a trio for LSU right there.
Yeah, that's the last leg of that is tough. What do they have the week after? What's
at
the
Arkansas
finale
to close out?
Okay, yeah. No, it's so I can look at that. Yeah, the next week's at Vanderbilt. That's tough. At South Carolina could be tough. Auburn at home, scary team with Alex Golish and Byron Brown running that offense, but. Yeah, I could make the case for sure that Tennessee can be right there, that Tennessee could be maybe – I mean, this would be This will be a lot of fun. 9-2, heading to Vanderbilt, trying to get a little revenge for what Vanderbilt did to them on their home field. And I don't know what Vanderbilt will be this year either. I mean, I think I'm probably more bullish on Tennessee at least being a 7-8 win kind of team than I am on Vanderbilt. But with both teams, the quarterback range is pretty wide. They're both so young.
Well, and on the quarterback front, I think if you look at Tennessee's offense, I feel good about their offensive line heading into this year. Frankly, I think David Sanders heading into year 2 has got a chance to be really, really good. Like, I think he showed, once he got his feet underneath him as a freshman last year, I think he showed pretty clearly why he was the level of recruit that he was. So I think their offensive line's in a good spot. I always feel pretty good about Tennessee's running game. Like, I still don't know if they've got the elite back, but Deshaun Bishop's a good back. He's productive. Like, they're going to run the ball effectively in this offense. I love particularly the combo of Matthews and Staley at receiver. They are really good. So there's a lot on the offensive side of the ball that's kind of built in already to help the quarterback. And I don't think enough people are talking about that when it comes to, everybody's worried to death about the youth of the quarterbacks, and I understand why. But the quarterbacks right now, not only with the roster that we just laid out, but with Heupel, have a lot to work with there. Like, I'm not as worried about McIntyre or Brandon as I think a lot of people are. I don't know if they're going to be great, but I also, I'd be pretty stunned if quarterback play was just bad from Tennessee this year. I think there's a baseline of how good they're going to be. And maybe it's not good enough in some of these games, but I don't think it's going to be like some massive problem heading into the year.
Josh Heupel's career really has been working with quarterbacks, whether as a QB coach, as an OC, as a head coach. Obviously, he's a Heisman winning quarterback himself. Clearly, he has we've been talking about Brian Daboll and making sure you fit things to your talent and things like that. Clearly, he has a knack for that. At this point, I think it's hard not to have faith that it's going to at least be pretty good. You still may have young mistakes, and that could be critical in a game or two, right? For sure. But overall, I'm with you. I think you're going to get good QB play. I like that there's a competition. I think it's better than either of these young guys just knowing for sure it's their job. That should elevate them. And I think with both of these teams, with Tennessee and Vanderbilt, I'm expecting, I think, the true freshmen to be in place. But it's definitely more of a question at Tennessee. I mean, what about if George McIntyre? What if that year makes such a difference that he just has enough of a lead? There's enough reliability and comfort there that you just go there. I guess it could work out. It seems like with Brandon, there's a higher ceiling.
Yeah, it seems that way. I do like.
But we've been wrong tons with high school rankings.
Well, that and the long-term part of the quarterback part of this, I think, is intriguing because for Heupel, at least to some level, you've got to factor that in. Like, I think you understand that at some point this year, whether it's early in the year, whether you split time with him and eventually but at some point this year, you're going to make a decision on a quarterback and he's going to be your guy. And that's probably going to mean that at the end of the year, the one that you decide isn't your guy is going somewhere else. That's probably what it means. That's just the reality of today's college football. So you don't make your entire decision based on that. But I do wonder, if you deep down in your heart, if you're Heupel, believe that Brandon has a higher ceiling than McIntyre does that influence your decision at all in the short term of how you lay that out this year, knowing that that's probably reality if you go the other way?
It's really interesting because you could make the case that, you might squeak out a couple more wins with the more game manager type thing, veteran who's been around for another year, but you might set yourself up for next year better by just being willing to live with some of that stuff. Yeah.
Well, and then the kind of the complicated factor into all that is, how does he view this year for himself, right? Like, if there's a segment of Tennessee fans that are looking at this year like, you better get in the playoff or you're going to be on the hot seat. And I don't know that Danny White views it that way. Like, I would be pretty surprised if they are in a situation where by the time November comes around, we're talking about like a serious chance that Josh Heupel gets fired this year. But we're not that far away from it. Like, if they're not good this year, he's absolutely going to be on the hot seat heading into next year. So I think he's got to understand that. I wonder how that affects his decision making too, or if it does at all. Like, if he even thinks about that. I don't know.
If
some coaches do, some coaches don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good. Look, it's good for him that he has the AD who hired him is there and is in a stable situation. I mean, overall, I know women's basketball right now is tough, but it's going great for men's basketball. Baseball has been able to, I think they're going to be really good. Like, so you have your guy you worked with previously. So I think the hot seat talk outside is not going to match the inside. Yeah. I think Danny White, like let's say Heupel, goes 8-4 this year. Clearly not a playoff team. They're kind of, by the time you get to late November, like they're out of it, but 8-4. Is he on the hot seat next year? Really on the hot seat with Danny White?
The one thing that's interesting about all that to me is, like, if you're a booster looking at this and you're saying, okay, well, for whatever reason, we could not land a quarterback. They clearly tried to go get a quarterback in the portal. And they, Sam Levitt, it looked like for a minute, might be coming to Tennessee. Obviously, he's at LSU. Like, there are a couple other guys that it looked like they were trying to go get, and they didn't. If quarterback play does become a big problem this year, and it's like, well, you're feeling like the defense is playing pretty well. We know what the weapons they've got on offense. Like, everything looks pretty good, but the quarterback is just massively holding you back. Like, do you look at that and say, how could you guys possibly, with all the money you guys have, not land some quarterback this offseason in the portal?
Yeah. No, that position, that scenario, again, as I've said before, like the scenario of like, okay, things didn't go, the defense was bad, they had no pass rush, whatever, but that looks good. I think there's a huge difference there. If you feel good about the most important position going into 2027, I think you're graded on more of a curve.
Yeah. 615-737-1025. Our phone number coming up next. More of your thoughts to get to on the Vols. We'll wrap up the show. Go rapid fire coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final segment of the day, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Greg Sankey's still speaking at the podium at SEC Media Days.
He is taking questions.
He is taking questions, yes. He's moved on to questions.
And
apparently one of the questions were, how real are the discussions about the SEC potentially breaking away? And he said, quote, "You phrased the question, how real? So I'll take that as like real or not. So they're real. People have talked about that. They've opined about the frustrations that bring them to the point of saying we should look at something significantly different. I do not believe that it's a leverage point. I think it's just honest communication. I would prefer that stay in a meeting room or on a video conference and not be a part of the D1 ticker the next morning, but I don't control all that." That's what Greg Sankey had to say.
Okay.
So the SEC apparently at least having some discussions about breaking away.
Going to secede from college football. That's a great idea. Yeah. Look, the governance thing, I understand. That's an interesting thought. Like, okay, so we're just going to govern ourselves. We'll hold ourselves accountable. Don't you worry. The real thing is of course the SEC and the Big Ten forming something new. Now that's real. The SEC, and again, Greg didn't say it, but for anybody who missed it a few weeks ago, Jerry Moorhead, Georgia president, actually talked openly about, we'll just play ourselves and we'll just, the SEC championship will be the national championship. And totally, dude. It's one of the dumbest things said in sports recently. So so what is real? Because Greg knows that. Greg knows that, like, there's no, you don't have
you can't claim a national championship playing the SEC.
You can claim you have the best conference, and he's done a lot of that today, as you knew he would. And again, that's fine. And he putting up the numbers and the ratings, and we're the second most popular league after the NFL, all that stuff, whatever. Sure. The Big Ten has won 3 straight national championships, one of them tainted, but regardless, you can make that argument if you want. Greg knows damn well you cannot make the argument that there's a national championship to be had among just SEC teams playing each other.
And nobody wants that. Like, I don't want
nobody
that.
wants
I'm an SEC, like, I'm as big of an SEC guy as the next guy, but I don't want that. Like, I don't want it to just be playing SEC teams like, oh yeah, great, Tennessee's finally won the SEC and this is the national championship I've been searching for. Awesome.
We got a schedule this year of we got Mississippi State and I was going to say Vandy, but I can't say that, right?
They had to play Auburn 3 times this year, but thank God they won it at their own playoff.
Like no one wants it. I mean, really, like if you're an SEC fan, I mean, you might kind of like the idea, like, stick it to them, but it's like, really? The whole point is you want to go beat the crap out of some Big Ten team.
Yeah,
you want to be a national champ. There's another. So the whole thing it's stupid. Now I've heard some other things, like in terms of, I've heard talk of, SEC people. We know Danny White's big on this. Why can't the SEC lead the way and do its own collective bargaining thing? Now, that's still complicated when you talk about different states' laws and things like that. But okay, like, if you want to lead the way on certain things and be a trailblazer, that's great. And the governance thing is interesting. Like, how could you possibly separate yourself from NCAA rules and still be allowed to compete against other schools that are in the NCAA? Like, it's I understand the frustration, but again, the real threat is Big Ten, SEC, plus whatever, Florida State, Clemson, form Super League. That's real. This stuff it's just, I don't know why you would make yourself look silly, as some of them in the SEC have, by even saying that stuff.
Does LeBron pick a new team today? Is today the day that the LeBron watch ends?
Well, we've already had Michigan's AD stepping down as cut into SEC Media Days. Heather Dinich was up there like, breaking from the SEC Media Days, Big Ten news. So maybe LeBron can, there's Scattaboo. Hey, Scattaboo, you just fell, dude. You fell with your dislocated, fractured leg.
I think you may have taken a few too many hits already. Good grief.
Now, CTE is not real, according to him.
Yeah.
But, maybe does LeBron want to, when Josh Heupel's at the podium, LeBron say, you know what? I'm going to cut into this thing and steal the headlines for myself.
Move aside, son.
Yeah. Josh, you are lighting the room up, but hold on a second, buddy. I got some breaking news
I'm
for
going
you.
to sign with the Miami Heat real quick, and you can get back to your press conference. So, are we buying into?
I say Wednesday, LeBron Wednesday.
Are we buying into what the betting odds now say after the Gilbert Arenas stuff that LeBron's going to end up on the Heat?
I just can't believe Gilbert Arenas is going to make that up.
I mean, I hear you. I don't really know how Gilbert Arenas. Why are Gilbert Arenas and Giannis close? I guess would be another thing.
But Gilbert has a podcast that's
He
actually
does.
popular, right?
I know.
I know that everybody has a podcast, but his actually has traction, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that's how.
Yes.
I can't believe he's making that up. So sadly, I was excited about the idea of LeBron having to break up fights between Yaxel and Draymond in practice, but apparently that's not going to happen.
Maybe that's why he's not going.
Yeah, maybe. He's like, actually, you know what? That looks like an absolute powder keg. Miami, here we come again. That'd be exciting for you, man. I'd be excited for you. I'd be excited.
It'd be fun. It'd be interesting to
It would
watch.
be fun.
I don't know that they I don't know how good they would be. I mean, there'd be a baseline level of good. They'd be a contender in the East, but I don't know. Is LeBron, Giannis, and Bam Adebayo, and then a bunch of dudes, competing for an NBA championship at this stage? I don't know.
Yeah, if there's enough shooting to go with that, it could be a fascinating trio. And as you said earlier, defensively,
Be pretty good.
that's intriguing. LeBron could
Best coach in the league.
could hide a little bit. Suppose great coach.
Could be interesting.
I'm here for it. If we can't get him in my hometown of San Fran, then because I'm still a Warriors fan when I want to be.
That's right.
If they stink this year, I'm back to being a Pistons fan.
There you go.
And I guess I'd like to see the Heat. I'd rather see that than LeBron have to be frustrated playing with James Harden.
Probably more popular going to the Heat this time than last time. That does it for us on the program here today. Next man up with Jake Lyman coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.